Hello viewers, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. I wanted to do a reading on climate change because it's very, very close to my heart. It's something I'm very, very passionate about. Now, in Australia, as you know, we have this wonderful change that is taking place. Your New York Times came to Australia to look at our attitudes, our changing attitudes to climate change, our views on the threats that climate change pose. They talked with farmers, they talked with renewable energy experts, they got a feel for what was occurring in Australia. They found also that 60% of Australians in this upcoming federal election see climate change as a critical threat to Australia's future, a critical threat to Australia's future. Very good article in the New York Times. I'll put a link to it. Now, I was out last night and I was also, we've got our federal election coming up, and I was able to hear some of the concerns of the electorate, and I can say that we are reasonably united on the need to do something about climate change. It is really one of our critical main election issues. In the past, we've also had from governments here, our state governments have moved to ban plastic bags or disposable plastic bags in supermarkets. This has resulted in an 80% decrease in our plastic bag usage. Wonderful, wonderful figures, and just goes to show you when we're united what can be done. As you know, plastic bags in the ocean, you've seen those images of animals, sea life being caught, swallowing plastic, etc. You've seen all that. So what we are doing in Australia, and this came out last night, what each of us individually are doing in relation to tackling climate change. We're not waiting for government to move. Here in Australia, the actual community, the citizens, are moving ourselves. Now, as I said, we've got an election coming up. And there is a lot of momentum behind the party that has renewable energy policies. So, as I said, in the past, there's lessons here in the Australian election for other governments around the world or other elections coming up. Climate change. Now, what I want to do here today is something that I touched upon on one of my other platforms, and that is it too late to save the earth? My feeling is it's not, but one of the questions that I want to pursue is whether or not the earth is going to fight back. Now, I mentioned the earth's immune system, autoimmune system kicking in. What I meant by that is that if you are spiritually minded, you understand that we manifest the environment around us, that we create the form. Now, we are connected. All living things are connected. And my thesis here is that we've manifested the life, the earth around us. Now, if we are also damaging that which we have created, and we're all connected, what happens then? Really, the earth or that connection, that protective defense kicks in to try and remove what is damaging the whole. So with that spiritual take on climate change and on the earth and on our connection, our energetic connection with all living things, let me ask here, is it too late to save the earth? We understand that there are scientists' reports, the UN reports that have stated if we don't do anything about climate change, which has resulted from human activity here by, I think it's 2040, our ability to address climate change will be severely compromised. So is it too late? Is it too late to save the Earth? My sense is no, that the Earth is stronger than what we are. Okay, so we've got judgment, the judgment card here. We are being judged, is what this reading is saying. We're being judged by the Earth, which is what we're connected to. My feeling is the Earth has proven it's stronger than what we are, and it will have the last say. And there is a cleansing here with this card. When judgment comes forward, it's a transformation. It washes away the old and brings forward a rebirth. What is the challenge is the Prince of Wands. Now, this is the inspiration here. What is the challenge to this? What is the challenge to this rebirth? This rebirth could also be our societies and our governments, our political attitudes toward climate change is undergoing a transformation here as well. The challenge to that is getting enough of us inspired to do something about climate change. The Ace of Pentacles is suggesting, the foundation of this reading is suggesting a new start here. And I chose this deck, which is the Druidcraft Tarot deck, because of its emphasis on the environment. There are new starts, which is suggesting the foundation of this reading is that it is not too late to save the Earth, providing we start again. Those new starts. Now, in the past, we've got prizing open the truth with the Prince of Swords. This is a slow process. The climate change evidence that has been brought to our consciousness over the last decade is revealing a truth to us, that the Earth's climate is changing and that human activity is responsible, has a large degree of responsibility for that change. Now, the potential of the present situation can also be a solution for the potential potential issue here, or question that we're asking. And this is the Ten of Swords, and this is endings here. This is painful endings. So I feel that in some way the increased activity that we are seeing from the Earth in relation to climate change is a clearing out of sorts, preparing for that rebirth, preparing for that new start. And I feel that the Earth itself, as indeed we've been juggling here, and this is a pentacle, the Suite of Pentacles here, the Two of Pentacles. This is a manipulation here, and it's a juggling and a manipulation because of money, because of I guess the economy, business. But it's also comes forward when things are out of balance. And so this card is telling me that things are out of balance. The monetary considerations have been put in front of the Earth itself, or the health of the Earth itself. And there's going to be a reckoning as a result. Now, the Six of Cups here is taking us back to a reunion with ourselves, to a more innocent time. This is an emotional card as well. So when enough of us are inspired, we'll start to do something about climate change. That is starting to happen in Australia itself. But I do feel that there is a aspect of this reading that is suggesting that climate change events are going to increase. And that will be a question we'll ask. It's almost like all things are going to be revealed to us. What is underneath the surface will come to the surface. This is also to do with the moon. What we've got tides. We've got so potentially something from underneath the surface will come to the surface, suggesting volcanoes, suggesting earthquakes, suggesting potential tsunamis. And this is all leading us back to ourselves. It's almost as if we've got to have these climate change disasters in order to take the action, because the action is not going to happen by itself. We need a greater inspiration. Now, the Nine of Pentacles is in the hopes and fears position. This is now we're getting to the truth around monetary considerations. This is financial independence here. We fear we will lose that if we start to move toward more renewables, if we stop mining fossil fuels, if we start to rely on solar and wind power. What's that going to cost? That's going to cost, the fear is that it's going to damage our economy, etc., etc. In Australia, we are going to be showing in the future, I think, that it is possible to, and has been shown in other countries around the world, that it is possible to move to renewables in a large, significant way and actually create jobs and actually create industries. And we're going to be a litmus test in a way. Now, the outcome is the ultimate boss, the King of Wands here. This is, in one way, is our leadership. It's going to be around our leadership taking inspired action, but it's also going to be the earth coming forward as the ultimate authority here. And the Five of Pentacles is suggesting, again, some kind of loss. There will be, in these climate change disasters, of course, you have people losing their homes, etc. But it's almost as if we've got to have that occur to force leadership into taking an action here on climate change. In this particular card, you've got the sun here, the sun in the background again, and we've got a running of the hounds here chasing, a running of the animals away, the sun in the background. And it's mirroring the King of Wands, the ultimate authority here. And we've got the Three of Pentacles coming forward. Again, this is, I guess, repairing and fixing something to create something new. And this is what's going to be demanded if we're going to save the earth here. And what is hidden from our view is the High Priestess here. I think this is the earth itself. She has so much more to reveal. It's quite a powerful image here if we think of the earth in this way. The High Priestess, intuition, inner knowing, events to be revealed to us. So I feel that what this reading is saying is it's not necessarily too late to save the earth, but it is suggesting that unless action is taken, then these climate change events will increase. It will be the earth having her say. The answer, the solution, lies in enough of these events occurring, and this is again what happened in Australia. We are a land which relies on the sun. We're a dry continent. Our temperatures are getting hotter. Our farmers are feeling the effects of climate change. They're understanding they can't rely on normal sources of water, or the sources of water they've relied on in the past are drying up. They are understanding that the future of farming in an arid continent is to work with the earth, not against the earth. And so they're seeing firsthand. This is why it is so important what is going on in Australia. They're seeing firsthand that new starts can be made which don't cost, but will actually yield a return for them. And so they're farming, they're establishing, they're using former lagoons and waterways, they're fencing off creeks, and they're understanding that when they do that, when they fence off rivers and waterways and put water into troughs instead of allowing stock down to the river, that when those riparian zones start to repair themselves, the pastures next to the waterways start to come back to life. And of course, when that happens, their productivity increases, and it's a flow, literally a flow-on effect. So there are actions that we can take, and we're being urged to take them, but we're being urged to take them because we're being, and we're going to be, forced out of our complacency through the escalation of climate change events. Now, this is what we understand in Australia. We're hoping that the US will, once Trump leaves office, there will be new approaches to climate change. But right at the moment in the US, there is a denial of science of climate change, and there are regressive policies. Now, one of the reasons that led me to do this reading was because your Secretary of State, Pompeo, has responded that there would be business opportunities in the melting of the ice in the Antarctic. More drilling, perhaps, in these. I mean, really, what's the answer to climate change? Pompeo is saying business opportunities, and that actually disgusted me and led me to do this reading, because it is the opposite of what should be done. So we are hoping for a change of government in America and a return to sensible and healing climate change policies. So I'm going to ask now, will the Earth respond, as we saw in that last reading with the Ten of Swords, with an increase in climate change, natural disasters, climate change related natural disasters? Are we going to be seeing more of that over the next 6 to 12 months? Will we be seeing more natural disasters directly related to climate change over the next 6 to 12 months? Natural disasters. I'm seeing here the kind of disasters that puts it on the agenda in the UN. I'm seeing here a coming together here, and again, we had the Paris Accord with climate change targets. What are we likely to see? A coming together here as a result of being forced to the table. So the question here is, are we likely to see an increase in climate change events, natural disasters, in the next 6 to 12 to 2 years, 12 months to 2 years? An increase. All right, so we've got the Magician here, suggesting something's going to be actualized to reality. Something that has been at the back is now going to come forward. The challenge here is the Emperor. This is the leadership, the resistance here to climate change. The foundation of the reading is the Queen of Wands, and this is, I do believe, an inner knowing of what is propelling these climate change events. If you look in the background of this card, this is why I like this deck so much. There is quite rich detail in each card. We've got a burning here, suggesting the wildfires. Again, the increasing temperatures is going to really resonate and spark a knowing that we've got to do something about climate change. The sun in the past, the increasing global temperatures. The Three of Pentacles, the solution to these increasing global temperatures, global warming, and what that produces. Global warming is the issue here, the response of the Earth to climate change, to what human activity causing climate change. the response here is to repair, to fix and repair. The immediate future balance, there's going to be a rebalancing here, and it's going to be done through these climate change events, natural disasters. At the moment, we have the earth about to reveal more. This is the high priestess. This is it's really around what we don't know at this point in time, but something that's going to be revealed to us. The atmosphere is the giving and the receiving of help. The atmosphere around is one of, I guess, of when these natural disasters strike, are coming together, a mobilisation of many countries to assist. These two cards, I asked, were we going to see an increase in natural disasters as a result of climate change over the next 6 to 12 months? It appears that the increase in events are going to cause a mobilisation where we have multiple nations responding to a natural disaster event, the need to help others. The hopes and the fears here, the end of something, the end of something, the end of Earth, the end of life, the end of changing climates is what I'm getting here. Changing, which will force people to relocate, I feel, could be coming up in the future. And the strength of the Earth itself. It's actually going to be hard work for us as these events increase. And we're going to have to work together here, multiple nations working together. And what is hidden from our view is the Five of Cups, which is loss. Loss, that is what's hidden from our view. Potentially through global warming, natural disasters caused by climate change. The solution to the problem is to repair and fix. As a result, there is going to be an increase in these natural disasters, climate change events. We're going to have to extend and help those affected. The hopes and the fears here are endings. And we've got the strength of the earth coming forward. What is hidden from our view is loss. So I feel that the message here is that there is a level of knowing that unless we manage climate change, unless we bring forward those policies, unless we reduce those emissions, unless we set those renewable targets, that the climate change related natural disaster events are going to increase. And I'm feeling that who will have the last say, and it will be the earth, and it will be the strength of the earth. And this is something that we don't understand. It's greater than ourselves. We think that we are greater than the planet we live on, yet we know time and time and time again that the earth itself is able to actualize and bring forward these climate change related events, yet still we think that we have control. And what this reading is showing us, that unless we acknowledge, unless we start to repair and fix, then we had that Ten of Swords coming forward in the last reading, there's going to be loss. What's hidden from our view is there's going to be loss. Now, this reading also showed that it wasn't too late. It wasn't too late to save the earth. And we have a lot of good examples of what countries are doing. They're leading the charge to reduce emissions. Many of the European countries are doing this because they already know. They've already reconciled that. In Australia, we've got potentially an election being fought on climate change. One party wants to to go back to the industrial revolution and put their future in coal. The other party wants to move almost to a fully renewable source of energy for Australia, and this is what the election is going to be really boiled down to. People are demanding a vision, people are demanding a plan. For climate change, and they're actually using their vote to achieve it. So the hope is for America that your new government or a new government coming into power will bring forward some of these wonderful climate change policies that we're hearing so much from in relation to the Democratic candidates. So let's hope there's a rebalancing for Trump. Let's hope there's a rebalancing of American leadership toward progression, not regression. As for the Earth, it's not too late, but you can see that there will be an increase in these climate change disasters, potentially from global warming, increased global temperatures, and there's going to be a need for us to come together to help those that are affected, and it's going to cost us. And when that cost becomes so high, then the leaders will start to listen and start to understand that the earth will always have the last say. But it's not too late. It's not too late, and there are some wonderful things happening across the globe. So, final messages, 10 of Cups, yes. This is coming together. This is really love and supportive energy coming forward. This is what I'm seeing in Australia. This is what I saw last night. There is enough of us. It's uniting us. It's inspiring us. The truth. We are facing the truth. We are not denying the science. There are new starts as a result of an acceptance of that truth. And of course, along with that, I guess, intellectual acceptance of the truth, along with the analysis, the strategic planning, the changes that are going to come forward, we've also got emotions changing. We're getting this unification. And if you look at this card, what do you see here? We saw cards in the past where the image was of the sun, of fires. What's the image here? We've got running waters here again, and I do believe that that is the potential of taking action on climate change can lead to new starts, not just emotional, not just a reunification, not just coming together to carry out inspired projects and inspired plans, but it will lead to unity and you know, at the practical level, it's going to really heal the earth. So there is a potential here. But before we get to that potential, we're going to be confronted by an increase in these climate change events. This is the Nine of Swords, and this is what we're worried about. Okay, inspired action. If you can take action yourself, for us here, we've put solar panels on our roof, and we have moved away from electricity, coal-fired electricity sources to renewable energy, this sources of power. This was just our individual decision. It's made good monetary sense. It has our electricity bills are probably less than a third of what they were before we put our solar panels on. So, you know, you can take your individual action and do your bit, and increasingly that's what's going to happen. All right, we're not going to wait for the leaders to tell us what to do. We're already going to do it. Okay, thank you.